about. And like, that's the one thing that like will never, and I miss it. I miss it so much. And those days are never coming back because the landscape's different. The coaching stories and the stories of the league are so much better back when I played, and probably even better before I played. But the closer you get to like now, with the social media and the camera phones, and everybody's so sensitive that they feel like they can't say what they want to say. They can't be funny because they might be offending somebody. It's whatever it is, like nothing's the same anymore. Like nothing is the same. And the stories, like the NBA stories back then, the coaches, could you imagine having a show where you like mic'd up Doug Moe and Chuck Daly and Don Nelson and Pat Riley? I mean, you could go on with the coaches and like some of the stuff they would say in post game press conferences or what they'd say on the sidelines and how incredible that would be. Nowadays, everybody is just so milquetoast. Like nobody has any personality now, and if they did, they wouldn't show it to you for fear of like, oh, I said something to offend somebody, and now this group's going to be offended with that. They're going to be mad at me, and now I'm going to have to deal with this on shows. It's just a bunch of crap, is what it is. I mean, sometimes funny is just funny. You don't mean to offend anybody. It's like, well, but you did. It's like, well, I mean, you can't worry about tiptoeing through your life and maybe offending a small portion of society. It's like, look, I'm just going to say this and just take it for what it is. Try not to look too deep into what I'm saying. All right, this is like about this deep what I'm saying. It's not an ocean. It's like a creek. In fact, it's not even a creek. It's like a gutter where it rained a little bit. Now the gutter is like rolling down the street. That's all it is. Not that big a deal. But that's not the way our society is. But back then, nobody gave two rips. It's like you just say what you want to say, do what you want to say, and there was just a lot more personality, especially with the coaches. But yeah, you just don't get the stories that you get back then today. So I do miss that. But the coaches, man, they were the best. Remember Eric Musselman's dad, Sam Mitchell, was on his team when he was coaching for the Timberwolves. And I'm guarding Sam right in front of the bench and down in my stance, got him. And he's a coach of the Timberwolves. And he's telling Sam, he goes, take him. Take that motherfucker. He can't guard you. Take him. I'm just like, I'm right here. I go, easy, coach. Like, easy. It's just, I'm just trying to earn a living here. Like, I'm just trying to coach Sam Mitchell. So, and then after the game, he comes up to me and he goes, I just did it because he goes, I love you. He goes, I love how hard you play. He goes, I really do. And I believed him, but I was like, can you like lighten up next time? He goes, that seemed a little much. And I go, God dang. He goes, probably not. But he was like one of those hard nosed coaches where like he was an absolute grinder, but like I don't think anybody's saying that today. Like I can't imagine Steve Kerr telling one of his players, take him, he can't guard you, like right in front of him. Like, but that would happen like that happened all the time. Like Nelly would do that, not that, but maybe something similar. But just the personalities you had in the league back then was pretty wild.
Yeah, well, they'll catch you with what you're saying on the sidelines and read into it and everything else, because Steve would talk that way away from the cameras sometimes, or just say, man, I wish Kevin would just rip through that motherfucker. That's whoever it is on the Clippers, and he can't guard him. But out there, I mean, what you're talking about is sort of the transition from the old NBA world into something that's corporate, and it just changes everything. I mean, Nelly, during that We Believe series, I remember was just drinking beer in the press conferences, talking about how they were going to lose every game. That was my favorite. Is the media would ask about whether they had a chance, and say, "Oh no, they're a better team. We're not going to win this." And it's just you do not get anything. You just don't get anything like that. It's just everybody's too aware to really have characters in the way that they were characters.
Yeah, you know what it is? I look at it this way. I use the analogy, the movie Casino. The old NBA was the Tangiers, and the new NBA is like Aria and like the new kind of corporate hotels, and the old NBA was like the kind of the mob run, and it just kind of everybody knows your name.
Yeah.
It's like one of those type deals where it's a more of a mom and pop a pop shop, and now it's so structured. It's just it is. It's like a huge multi-billion-dollar corporation, which is what it is, because the leagues are so expensive now. Or the teams are so expensive now with the rights fees and all that kind of stuff. Like everything's just gone up and up and up. Where there's probably people even in the Warriors organization that could probably run into each other and we're like, "Oh, you work here? You work for the Warriors too? Oh my God, that's incredible! So do I." But back in the day, like everybody knew everybody. It just wasn't that big operation. Like Mr. Fitzgerald would come into the locker room occasionally, the owner of the Warriors, and just say hi to him. But he wasn't like running anything, or he wasn't outspoken, or he wasn't doing a bunch of interviews, stuff like. He's just the owner of the Warriors, and he'd come in and shake our hands, win or lose, and it wasn't like he'd come in after a win or a loss. He just happened to be in town that night. They come say hi to us, and Mr. Fernand was running the team, and then of course it was Nelly as the coach, and you had some salespeople that you would know, I mean, because they're on the it just everything is just so different. It's just much. I don't know if it's better or worse, but I know it's bigger, and I know they treat it as such now, that it's not a mom and pop shop anymore, and that kind of comes with. I think what you're saying and what I was saying is that everybody is kind of minds their P's and Q's a little bit more nowadays because they realize so much money is at stake.